when January comes around, that is usually the dumping ground for studios to release movies they don't expect to do well in any other part of the year. This month has been dubbed the FU It's January month. But sometimes you get the gems that shine through the sea of shit. This is the case for the sequel of 2018's Den of Thieves, Den of Thieves 2, Pantera. Now, I'm a huge fan of the first film, which came out 7 years ago, good God, and I was excited when they announced that they're going to be doing a sequel, because the first film ended on such a good cliffhanger. It's a good action heist movie, reminiscent of course, Heat, but I was excited for another Gerard Butler's January movie to come out, and I'm like, let's do it, let's get to the theater, let's watch it. And with the ending of the first film, the story can go in so many ways, and they already set up the story with this one, with them robbing the diamond exchange in Europe. So you think, okay, we got the story set up, we got some of the characters back, we got a new setting, what could go wrong? Well, after watching Pantera, I can say I was thoroughly entertained. I will say that it was a slight step down for the first film, but it does well as its own film. The plot of the film was engaging. It's the classic heist action film, which has all the tropes we're used to in the genre. We got the crew introduction, the planning, distrust between the crew members where crew members may get kicked out, the heist itself, the final act, betrayal, and then plot twist. Den of Thieves 2 does all of that and doesn't reinvent the wheel, which is fine. And it also does a solid job of being a standalone sequel, in which you don't necessarily have to watch the first film to know what's going on in this one. I will still say give Den of Thieves 1 a watch to get to the point where we see Gerard Butler and Osage Jackson's characters about the history that they had from the first film. But I think on its own that Den of Thieves 2 works as a standalone film if you didn't watch the first film. The performances in the film were great as well. Osage Jackson Jr. turns in a good performance, and Gerard Butler once again brings his A game. What I like about Gerard Butler is that no matter what movie he's in, because he's been the king of January movies for the past couple years, he still gives it 100%. I think he was probably the most entertaining part of this movie. His chemistry with Osage Jackson was really, really funny, and it was really good. They both were good leading co-stars in this film, and I think that if they're doing a third movie, I'd love to see them do it one more time, because there's something there. The thing with the cast, though, is that it's just them two. You only really care about O'Shea and Gerard. That's really it. The supporting cast is just, they're solid, but you don't really get to know them well, because they're just like, hey, they're just there to move the plot along. And, you know, I'm not going to say that the first film had the same thing. I mean, at least we had like Merriman and, you know, 50 Cent, Lennox. We had more people we got to know on both sides of the law. But this time it's like, nope, here's Gerard Butler and O'Shea. That's it. But they were fine. The supporting cast was okay for what it was, but it was mostly dominated by Osage Jackson and Gerard Butler. And lastly, the action in the film was good when it appeared. So there's one thing that's noticeable in this film, is that for the first 40 to 50 minutes, there's a lack of action. It's a lot of build-up and anticipation to the heist itself, which is fine. A lot of heist movies will have moments in the film where it builds up with them training, prepping. One of my favorite films of the 2010s, which is Widows, directed by Steve McQueen. A lot of the movie was just them setting up for the big heist at the end, which is fine. And Den of Thieves 2 does this, and it's like, okay, this isn't what it was like in the first film with this less action, but it's more planning, and it's running in the first film. Like, it's fine, but I think that it works to a degree. It will lose some viewers if they're not really wanting that slow burn, but it's worth it, because once the heist kicks off in the last like 30 minutes of the film, it is super, super worth it. It builds tension, and it has the viewer feeling rewarded once the heist is actually done, because it's like, oh, we actually got to follow them and see what they did. I like it. I like it. It feels euphoric. If there's one thing that I will say is a big negative in Den of Thieves 2, I'm going to say that the runtime is a bit much. This movie clocks in at 143 minutes, aka 2 hours and 10 minutes. I will say there are points in the film where it could have ended. So there's like, oh, it ends right there. No, it's going to keep going. Like, it keeps going. For the fake outs, to the twists, to like, oh, there's something else that's being revealed. It kept going. I think there's probably about 20 minutes in this film you can cut to get this down to an hour 50, an hour 56 minutes. I think what Den of Thieves 2 struggles with is its runtime, to be able to pace itself to really keep with like a concise runtime. And to 2 hours and 10 minutes, they did use every single minute of it. I will not like say it wasted my time. It had me engaged for the entire runtime, but there could have been some stuff that could have been cut out. That's all I'm saying. But besides the runtime, the film is still solid. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera was released on January 10th, 2025 on a budget of $40 million. At the time of this review, it has grossed $22.7 million at the box office so far. Overall, Den of Thieves 2 Pantera is a solid heist action film to start 2025. While it feels like a step down from the first film, it still manages to be a solid film on its own. I'm curious to see where the franchise will go next. And my final grade for Den of Thieves 2 Pantera is going to be a B-. So let me know down in the comments below, did you like the first Den of Thieves, and are you seeing Den of Thieves 2? And what's your favorite action heist film? Until next time, I've been Mac from Mac Reviews, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace! Hey, if you like this video, make sure you check out one of my other reviews on my channel, and stay tuned for the next one.